Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is Tuesday, July the 18th. Welcome back to Venator Trading. Glad you guys are here. Back at it, sitting at the charts, hunting trophy buck setups, getting in that tree stand, seeing what we're going to see. So, good morning to Corey, Adrian, Marlin, Trader Rexman, Sunrise, Blue, and Cisco. Glad you guys are here. Morning to everyone stateside. Good afternoon to those on the other side of the pond. And good evening to all of those on the other side of the world. Wherever you're at, I hope that you are having a great day. I was busy. I lost track of time this morning. I was busy getting some tweets scheduled to go out, and I was typing them up. And then I looked up and I was like, oh, crap. I'm late. So, but we're here. I'll have to finish those up later. But glad you guys are here. Hey, Deadpool, Yasmin, Shafa, welcome in. Coffee is hot right now, but it won't stay that way for long. It never does. I need to get like one of those. I need to put it in like a tumbler cup, you know, those they're supposed to keep it hot. Maybe I'll get a Venator one. Ignesh, Kenneth, Red Ezekiel, welcome in. Thermo, yeah, that's it. Thank you, Shava. Glad you guys are in. All right. Got some news this morning at 8:30. Got some retail sales red folder news coming out. So we'll see what we see. Dollar overnight kind of dropped. Looked like it. Did it make a new low here on the dollar? What was this low over here? 99.596. I think that was the low. 578. And the low overnight was 589. So the dollar did not make a new low overnight. Kind of choppy, dropped down, dropped up. So it's grabbed some sell side, it's grabbed some buy side. And now we're just kind of chopping back up into the middle of that range there. So very interesting, very choppy day yesterday. What do we get today? More chop? Who knows? We had such an expansive week last week. This week could just be engineering liquidity, and we may not get any big runs. We'll see. Pound overnight. GBP dropped down. Did not take out the Asian low. Left it in place, but it did grab some sell side liquidity. Came back down. It's got relative equal lows here, and then it's popped up with some displacement. So, you know, potentially, it's really interesting on the pound. I was hoping the pound was going to come down into these areas last night, take out these lows. I actually had on my other accounts, I had a limit order set up. On the hourly time, it was based off the hourly time frame, and it was just right under these lows, the OTE area. I just had a limit order set here at the OTE area for the pound, and I was hoping we'd get a dip down, take out yesterday's low, and then run up. It still has quite a bit of room to run up here to get up into this other monthly imbalance. So that's what I was hoping for, but it didn't. It just ran away. It did leave behind these relative equal lows under here, so maybe that's a news event today. Grabs those, or tomorrow. Not really sure yet. I don't really have a strong bias. Yesterday was just, it was a 50-50 shot yesterday. I mean, it was, you don't really know what's going to happen. You got to just be nimble and patient, and you have to wait for your setup to develop. That GJ trade, we identified the higher time frame narrative and we avoided that setup, so that was good. So we're just watching and waiting and trying to figure out where does price want to grab. So you can see up here on the 15-minute, we've just grabbed a buy-side liquidity here. We've had this quick run up. You're starting to see a nice little reaction away here at the top of the hour since we've grabbed liquidity. So, we're just going to have to watch Euro and see what happens there. I mean, the pound. Euro dollar, way more choppy. Looks more like the DXY, but here on the Euro, we've taken out last week's high already. And on the dollar, we have not. So might have a little bit of SMT developing here where Euro pops up, grabs that liquidity, and we might get a little bit of a retrace reversal here. It's grabbed the buy side, displaced down. It's come back up into the breaker, and it's having a nice little reaction off of this breaker. I wouldn't have caught this because it had already, this was before I even get to the charts. The entry would have been up here. But you've got some obvious clean relative equal lows down here it could be aiming for, and then you've got all of these relative equal lows down here it could be aiming for as well. So a couple things to watch there. But interesting in how that could be playing out as a nice little breaker. This move down right here, initiating this move up into liquidity. It finally fills in this entire weekly volume imbalance right here. There's another one. There's a couple more actually above it. So it could still use those as draws on liquidity way up there. All this old stuff over here. So, it's completely filled in that imbalance, and it has this imbalance here now just below it from the overnight. The close from yesterday into the open. Whoops, that's the week. Sorry. The weekly. But for now, it's grabbed that liquidity, and it looks like it may want to displace lower there. It's got some very clean sell side liquidity targets here in its sights. It cleared out all of this. So now if we can get some displacement down, we might be able to find something there. GBP may give us the better opportunity. It's a little bit cleaner, and it hasn't created the breaker that euro dollar has. You can see on the dollar, even though it left last week's low in place, it has cleared out quite a bit of sell side liquidity. It's taken out all of these relative equal lows here, dipped down twice, and if we get a break up, you could anticipate this being a low, potentially a low for the week. It just really depends. It's just hard to say. When I don't have a clear higher time frame. Obviously we're in a downtrend, right? Like, we know the dollar's been super weak. The question is, in the short term, what can you expect after a big move like this? Typically you expect a little bit of a retrace, or at least chop. So typically you're not going to get this again immediately after one of these big moves. It can. Obviously anything can happen. It's the market. It can do whatever the hell it wants. But typically you're not gonna suspect the market to just repeat last week's massive move. It's either going to chop or it's going to pull back, typically. So we'll wait and see what develops this morning in our trading session. Good morning, everyone. Welcome in. If you're just now popping into the stream, good to have you back. Good morning, Peter and Beeswax, Overplayful. Who else am I missing in here? John, good morning. Marlon, Michael. Let's see. Morning, Brad. Is that a breaker block I'm seeing on EU? Yes, that's what we just talked about. It is a breaker block on EU. But again, it would not. I would have, and I have missed an opportunity to get involved here. But for the purposes of just outlining our strategy, this is that is a breaker block right there. And you have a nice fair value gap right in the middle. This is a really clean looking breaker. Run on liquidity, displaces through, find the breaker with the fair value gap. You want to enter about 50% of that breaker as long as it's inside of that fair value gap. So that's just eyeballing it somewhere right there. You would place your stop. I would probably put it above the breaker, above the body right there, and then 1 to 2. That'd be your target if you were in this trade. So, but yes, that is a valid breaker block. You have a very clear run on liquidity. You have displacement away. It takes out the low, leaves behind a fair value gap inside, and there you go. So it could turn around and just take you out right there, but that is definitely a valid breaker block. EU reached the weekly volume imbalance and broke down. Yeah, definitely could be a little bit of a chance to retrace here off of last week's big push down. Thoughts on the gold? Yeah, I will go look at gold for those who want to look at it. Morning, Mauricio. Muhammad, today was a really bad day, down 3.5% on my evaluation. You lost 3.5% today, or you're just down overall 3.5%? Should never be losing 3.5% in one day. There's some kind of issue going on if that's happening. Shafa, is the one near the breaker a breakaway gap? The one near the breaker. On the 15-minute time frame? Are you talking about the breaker that's inside the fair value gap inside? I'm not understanding your question, Shafa. Sorry. Good morning, David. Welcome in. Pedro, good morning. Mauricio, but wouldn't this entry violate the no red carpet news rules? Technically yes, but it's we still have an hour and 15 minutes to go. So, well, that number one, I wouldn't have taken this trade because it was before my trading session even began. But had you been trading this before I even got on the stream, it's far enough away in my mind from the red folder news that there's still plenty of time for that trade to at least get you to a break-even position before the red folder news. Now that we're already here, yeah, I'm not going to try to get into anything until after that news hits. So we've got, let's see, 6:15, 7:15, sorry. It's 6:15 here in Houston. So I'm an hour behind the New York time. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, where we have like 5 more candles to print before the news. So again, I'm not saying that this is a trade, and I'm not saying you should get into it. I'm telling you, the question was, is this a breaker? And yes, that is a breaker, and there's a clean fair value gap inside of it. And so if you're expecting this draw on liquidity to the sell side to be tapped into, that could be a nice little play for you. I would not take this trade, as I'm going to wait until after 8:30 before I look to enter any positions. So don't just jump in if you see it pull back up to an entry here. Be very cautious. It needs to look, y'all. Just because you're on this stream, don't just take what I'm saying and jump into a trade. Like, you need to know what your rules are. You need to know what your trading plan is. You need to know what your trophy buck A plus setup looks like. And you need to know what are the criteria to get into a trade. It's not the Venator said, oh, that looks like a breaker block right there. That's not a good enough reason to get in a trade. You're going to keep blowing accounts and losing challenges if that's how you're going to treat this live stream. Don't do that. Don't do that. No, I am not. I am not in on Eurodollar, and I will not be in any trade until after the 8:30 news. Aditya asked that question. Who don't like looking at them gold? Is it in your rules to trade only on New York session? For this specific stream, yes, it is in my rules. For this stream, I am only trading the New York session. I can take a trade anytime between 7 a.m. and the back end is a little bit not as clear. It's 10:30 to 11 o'clock, somewhere in there, 10:30 to 11. But typically, I don't like taking trades after 10:30, but sometimes news hits at 10, and you can get some movement after 10:30. But it's very rare that happens. Is that trade still valid? I mean, again, just like I said, yes and no. Like, it is a breaker. There's a fair value gap. But I wouldn't necessarily say that it's valid, only because I'm not going to get into a position here with the red folder news coming out at 8:30. We've got retail sales numbers coming out that will and does can move. It can gap up and down with those numbers. So I just choose to wait until after the news event. So it is a valid breaker. That's all I'm telling you. Not telling you to take it, not telling you not to take it. It was just doing some analysis. That's all it was. Hey, Andy, welcome in. Kenneth, 26 last night, now 28, getting up there every night. I love the progress this stream is making. 31, I think, right now. That's what I see over there. 31. Welcome in, everybody. I love seeing the stream grow too. It warms my heart that you guys find value in this, and I appreciate you being here to watch. I'm going to be here trading no matter what. Like, whether, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a trader, so I'm here every day. This is what I do. Why not stream it? We can talk it through together. And hopefully you guys can learn along the way and fix whatever holes are in your boat, patch them up, start passing some challenges. Good to know. I was just asking to refine strategy. Yep. Hey, Roop, good morning. Can't thank enough all the knowledge you share with us. Much appreciated. Well, thanks, Mauricio. I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad you find it helpful. Roop says, why the sudden rocket in gold? Man, gold must be having a fun time. Let's go look at it. Let's go look at gold. Gold popping off. It's doing gold things. This is what happens. Like, it's just a boring night at the strip club, and then all of a sudden, Destiny gets up, and the whole room just blows up. And then everybody regrets it in the morning. This is a 30-minute fair value gap that I drew out back in the beginning of June. And gold has very much respected that 30-minute fair value gap. It has yet to trade through it. So I still have it on my chart. So very interesting that it wants to reach up and grab all of this buy-side liquidity. You know, if I were looking at gold overnight, it ran this sell side liquidity right here. And this is your bullish breaker for gold. Don't know that you would have got an entry. It just depends. There's an obvious fair value gap right here inside that breaker. So you've got your breaker is the teal, and then you've got your fair value gap right there. I would have, if I was going to look for a trade, I would have wanted to be about 50% of that, which is about right there. And it doesn't look like it would have gotten tagged in. Doing gold things like comes down and just, it would have just teased. I would have been in that 50% line right about there, somewhere around there. So it could have been tagged in. That would have been where my entry was, but that's a nice breaker. Gold actually participating in a breaker block finally. Let me see here. Get rid of that. Right now, there's just nothing. All it's doing is pumping into liquidity. That's all it's doing. It's reaching up into all of this buy-side liquidity right here and way back over here, clearing out all of this as well. So, you know, doing gold things. That's what gold does. Hey, Alpha Bridge, welcome in. Cisco says that route, my only guess would be big players starting to take longer term buy plays. Or just grabbing liquidity. We'll see. Don't forget to like the stream, all. Thanks, Cisco. I appreciate that. Definitely hit that like button. It pushes. It tells the algorithm that if you guys like this, other people might like it, and it exposes other people to the stream the more that you engage with it. So definitely put that out there. But Destiny got them boys popping. She got them excited. No cover. Yeah, no cover charge for 3 minutes. It was a free-for-all. The bouncer left the door, had to go to the bathroom, smoke break, and everyone just flooded inside. How long you timed yourself out of gold? I don't know. I'm not ready to go back to it yet. I still have PTSD. That wound is fresh. Been burned. I just need to find some smoother waters. When we get adventurous, we'll pull gold back up, but not anytime soon. Have you read Trading in the Zone? I have. It's a great book. Oh, first yawn of the day. Trading in the Zone is a great book. Yeah, absolutely love it. Let's jump over to GBP. What do we see? Let's see. Choppy day yesterday. Avoided a nasty move here yesterday because of our higher time frame. It is still due for a pullback, but still on this 4 hour right here, we failed to make a new high. Right here, we didn't take out that high, so could be slightly more bearish now. It's starting to roll over. You can see we made a higher high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low. Failed to make a higher high. So could potentially be getting our bearish retrace here on GBP. It did take out some buy-side liquidity here. You're getting a quick stab up. So for this to play out, where did this move begin? Well, that's the tricky part here. Probably you could use this 10-minute candle It's probably the cleanest right there. Potentially, this is just a potential right here. You might be able to say that is a potential breaker block. If I saw some displacement through that 10-minute block right there, a good strong displacement down, leaving a fair value gap, you could potentially find an entry here. But we'll wait. We've got, again, red for GBP. There's no red folder news, so whenever that trade sets up, if that trade sets up, we could take that before 8:30. So we'll just keep our eye on that. US 30 red folder news will keep us out of US 30 or any of these other indices here. Very choppy. You can just see the chop. It's just not great. We have had a little bit of a, good Lord, sorry. We have a little pump here into some buy-side liquidity, and we're starting to see a little bit of a reaction down away. You have very clean lows down here. Those are probably getting tapped. As ICT likes to say, I don't know how exactly he says it, but it's like the market doesn't like to leave smooth lines. It likes to make smooth lines jagged. When you can see very smooth lines like this, you can expect a dip into that. It's gonna make that not so pretty. So could be news related. Oh goodness, can't stop yawning. I would be on GBP. I'd probably use this candle as a potential breaker. These would be definite. Like if there was not something clean inside of this, like let's say we get displacement through news or whatever. If we don't get something clean in here and it did displace below here, this is where the true run on liquidity actually began, are these two candles right here. But that one can be, it's the last down close candle before you actually ran the liquidity. So it could be this one. Either one will just, depending on how you get displacement and depending on where their fair value gaps show up, you could use either one, potentially. Oh, goodness. Gosh, now I can't stop yawning now that I've started. Clean, but very clean run on buy side here. Just need a continued push down. With the news coming up in about an hour, you may just get sideways action until that news comes. So let's have to watch and wait. And jump back over here into the chart, see what's going on. Not much. Lulakani. First day here. I'm glad I found this live stream all the way from South Africa. We have, welcome in, man. Thank you for being here. And we have quite a few, we have a few South African viewers that I know of. So welcome to the tribe. Welcome to the tribe. Glad you're here, John. And now the bouncer is clearing house. Yeah. Gold, man. He's like, get out of here, you cheapskates. This ain't a free peep show. Gold is just... I don't even know, man. I don't even know. Just, This is a daily breaker that tapped into it, but it didn't ever get up into the 50% and these fair value gaps up in there. So it's in an obvious uptrend. 3 drives down, 1, 2, 3 on the hourly. Pump up. Run into buy side. We've had a change of structure on the daily time frame. Very interesting that, oh no, it's got a wick. At first I thought there was no wick on this daily candle. I don't think there's one on this one though. Opened at 32.17. Yeah, there's a small little wick on this one, but not much. Failed to make a new low here. Made a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. We've made a higher high. We have not displaced above this high yet. The close today will determine kind of what we might expect, but very clear and obvious resistance area inside that 1966 into like 1976 area. There's a lot of resistance to go higher there. This is the daily breaker I was talking about right here on gold. You've got a run on liquidity up here. These are weekly relative all-time highs up here. On the daily time frame, this last down candle is what initiated that run. 3 days aggressive run grabs that liquidity, and then you had an aggressive displacement after you grab that liquidity. It displaced back through there. So once this candle closes, you identify your breaker, you identify your fair value gap inside of that, enter around 50%, and it never got up there. It did tap back into the bottom of that breaker several times, but it's never been back up that high. So it could be eventually reaching up into there. Be interesting to see once it gets up into there what happens. So I'm going to leave this stuff on the chart. Maybe I should just go into a gold swing trading where you're just getting in on these higher time frames and you don't worry about all of the crazy whipsaw lower time frame action. Maybe that would clean gold up for me right now, because it just gave, well, first it was all this junk. Up, down, up, down, up. That, I mean, just like for a couple weeks. Ugh, so frustrating. There's just nothing to see there. 4 hours showing massive rejection. Still got 2.5 hours to go, of course, but what a clean level. Look at this on the 30-minute time frame. I'll go back over here. Every time it wicks up into this level here. There it is, the beauty. 30-minute. And it has yet to, that 30-minute fair value gap has yet to be violated and provide an opportunity to become support. You can bet if this thing gets popped through, this fair value gap becomes inverted and will become support, just based on how long it's held price down. Gold was extremely manipulated today. NCDs very bearish. Shafa, if there is a reason ICT does not recommend trading that gold. That's right. He doesn't like trading gold. I've seen him put some gold charts up in the past, but Yeah, he is not a fan of the gold trade. Who's texting me already this morning? Hmm. GU forming my setup. I want to see it displaced on that breaker you marked out first, but there's news, so probably won't get a trade today. Maybe Red Ezekiel. You never know. Do you have a confirmation list? Andy asks. Confirmation list. By confirmation list, do you just mean like rules to trade, or what do you, Andy? I'm not sure what your question means. A confirmation list. Like, how do I know when I can get into a trade? I'm not sure if that's what you're asking or not, but you can let me know in the chat. Yeah, if we don't get a trade today, it's fine. It's totally fine if we don't get a trade today. Not a biggie. I would love to get out of drawdown. I'm tired of seeing those negative numbers for 3 weeks sitting there, but we just haven't had very many setups show up for us to be able to even take a trade to get out of drawdown. So it's kind of frustrating, but it's part of the process. We made, so let's see, July. We're halfway through July, and we've made no money, but from the middle of May until the basically end of June, we made 21%. So we made 8% on our first challenge. We made 5% on phase 2. That's 13%. And then we got funded. We're break even. Then we made, let's see. Oh, we got a refund. And we made another 8% to pass phase 1 of this 10K challenge. So that's 21% in 6 weeks. So that's taking very, very few trades. 21% in 6 weeks. So whenever you guys are thinking about what it takes to get funded, you need to understand what you accomplished. You made somewhere between 13, depending on what your drawdown and what your profit targets are, like 13 to 15% just to get funded. And then if you are able to pass another challenge while you're funded, that's another 18. That's another 8%. So we made 6%. We made 21% in basically about 6 weeks. And now we're in drawdown 4%. So this is why I trust my data. This is why I trust my system, because I know the power of it and I know the edge that it gives me in the marketplace. And it's why I don't freak out when I'm in a little bit of drawdown, because 6 weeks from now we could be up another 20%. So that's it. That's the nature of trading. You're not here to take a trade every day. You're here to watch and see if the market gives you your trophy buck A+ setup. That's what you're here to do. And when you see it, you take it. And for me, more than 50% of the time, it's a winning trade. So good morning, Sam. Welcome in. Red Ezekiel, are you going to trade that GU if it shows your setup, even though the daily is bullish and 1 hour, only 4 hours bearish at the moment? I think. Your thoughts? Yes. If GU presents this, gives me an actual displacement through, I would anticipate some of these lows getting run. I know that we're a higher time frame on the daily. Obviously, we just had a very big move up. So, but the way the market moves, it doesn't just go up. It's going to it's probably going to be choppy here for a few days, or it's going to give us a small little pullback and try to rebalance. All it has done is offered buy side. It has not offered any sell side. So even though we are higher time frame bullish, you can expect the market to want to deliver efficient price action. And that means it needs to offer sell side. It needs to rebalance some of these gaps here. So this is why I can take, even though the daily, yes, we're higher time frame. But we can participate in a short here if we get a short-term reversal, basically. And you can see on the 4-hour, we've had a short-term reversal. We've had this low taken out. It's grabbed liquidity here, and so you could anticipate a move back down into some of these areas. So that is my thoughts on that. But I won't take it until after the news. Any dollar correlated pairs, there'll be no entries until after 8:30 at the earliest. I'm a bit confused where to draw breaker block. Isn't on Eurodollar the breaker? On Eurodollar, the breaker is where I have it on the 15-minute. So your breaker block is the last. So in this instance, because it ran buy-side liquidity, you want to find out it ran buy-side liquidity. So where did it run this buy-side liquidity? Where did this move start? It started with these two down close candles, right? So you highlight these two down close candles. They pushed down so that price could be run up and grab liquidity, and then it displaced. After you grab liquidity, you get quick displacement back through right there. Once this candle closes, you get a body close, a full body close below that breaker. You look back and you identify the fair value gap inside the breaker, and then you just set your limit order. I set my limit orders. I try to target around 50% of the breaker block and inside, somewhere inside that fair value gap. Some people you could target just 50% of the fair value gap. You could target the top end of the fair value gap, a full closure. That gives you the best sniper entries typically. But I have found in my data that 50% of the breaker is often the most likely. It gives me the highest win rate, basically. So. Andy says pros and cons for taking a trade. Breaker block, imbalance, time of day. The only thing that I need, Andy, is I need to see a run on liquidity. I need to see displacement away. So I need to be in my trading session, which is New York trading session after 7 a.m. New York time. So after 7 a.m. New York time, I want to see a run on liquidity. I want to see an aggressive move away after that liquidity gets run. I want to see a very clean breaker with a fair value gap nested inside of it. As long as those criteria are met, then I set my limit orders and I let whatever happen. So that's it. There's no other. There's really no other criteria for me. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to trade red folder news. I try to be in line with the higher time frame bias, and I use the weekly and daily to try to determine where the draw on liquidity is, and then I'll use the 4-hour wherever the 4-hour is on a trend. That's kind of what I like to line up with most often. I try not to take counter trend trades, but sometimes I can be wrong on my bias. I can be wrong on where the trend is. And because we just go for a static 1 to 2.1 risk reward ratio, you can often win counter trend trades because you're just going for the low, easy hanging profit target fruit there. So Trading Night, hello, just arrived. Welcome in, Trading Night. In fact, there was a question I wanted to ask. Do Bespoke have really next to zero slippage, please? Thanks for showing us the way to profitability. Yes, Bespoke. I mean, I have had very, very low to no slippage. It's not perfect, but it's the best I have experienced of the prop firms. That's the best I have seen. Red Ezekiel says, question, you know how when you're trading, it feels like you're always wrestling with your inner demons, like they're messing with your head before, during, and even after a trade. It's tough to handle. How do you personally deal with facing those inner struggles and staying on top of your game? Great question. Knowing that my emotions are, it just comes down to understanding that your emotions are lying to you. They don't know what's best. There is no danger to be protected from that it does not understand. It doesn't have a full comprehensive understanding of what you're trying to accomplish here. So at some point, you have to decide, I'm not going to do what my subconscious self-defense mechanisms are telling me to do, screaming at me to do. It thinks that I am in danger. And so a mature person knows I'm not in danger. There is nothing to be, there is no pain here. Everything is fine. And I just need to execute my trading system. Follow the rules. That's your job. Just follow your rules. Do your rules tell you to move your stop loss? If your rules tell you don't move your stop loss, then don't move it. Do your rules tell you to move to break even at a certain percentage gain or a certain R in profit? Then move to break even. If they don't, then don't do anything. Do your rules tell you to randomly enter trades? Probably not. So stop doing that. So you're just in this constant conflict with pain and conflict, and you feel the more that you can overcome, the more you can tell your emotions to sit down and shut up, the easier it becomes. In the beginning, it's super hard because you think all the profits need to happen right now. I need to pass this challenge right now. I need to get funded right now. I need to get to a payout right now. And if I don't, then this sucks. And I'm a horrible person. I'm a horrible trader. And the reality is, that's gambling. And we're not gamblers, we're traders. And there's a major difference. We have an edge in the market with our system. At least I do. I have an edge in the market with my system. I know what it is, and I let its job is to make me money. It's not my job to make money. It's my system's job to make money. So I just execute the system. That's all I am. I'm an operator. I'm here to push the buttons when the system tells me I'm supposed to push the button. And otherwise, I just sit here and I'm bored out of my mind. And so I start a YouTube stream to talk to you guys so I don't get bored out of my mind. That's it. I don't want to try to oversimplify it too much, but the reality is that's it. You have to get to a place where you tell your emotions to sit down and shut the hell up. You don't know what you're talking about, so be quiet. And I said in the interview, and I've said it here, it's childish. You're just acting like a child. You're letting that little 5-year-old boy or girl stand up and take control of your mental capacity. And that's called maturity, is being able to say, you know what, my emotions are not the truth. How I feel is not the truth. The truth is, I'm okay. The truth is, this pain does not exist. The truth is, there is nothing to fear. And your brain is convinced, especially when it comes to money, your brain is convinced that you're always in danger. You're either missing out on profits, and so it wants you to just get into a trade so that you don't miss out on profits. And then once you're in a trade, it doesn't realize it's just putting you in a more dangerous situation by just executing a random trade. So you gotta tell your emotions to sit down and shut up. That's basically, in a nutshell, kind of how I deal with it. Alpha Bridge says, I saw on a Bespoke Funding website that you have to take at least one trade in a month, otherwise the account will be terminated. This is legit. I'm not sure if they have an inactivity rule, but I mean, just take a micro lot trade. It's not hard. Just put in a 0.01 lot trade and close it out. Like it's, I don't. If they have that rule, then it's very easy to abide by that. That's not difficult. Cisco, thoughts on EG? Oh man, all you EG traders, it's the choppiest. It's the choppiest pair in the world. EG on higher time bias. Well, higher time frame. Oh, look, we're in the middle of chop. That's basically my here. What's your bias for EG? Sideways, always sideways. I don't get it. I don't get why you guys trade this. It's just chop, 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 chop. Like I don't understand it. I mean, it's taken out some lows. It's pushed up higher. It's technically taken out that high, that swing high, and closed above it. So, I mean, potentially it could go up. I don't even know how to deal with this. Like 4 hour time frame, maybe a little clearer. We've had a higher high. We failed to displace, failed to make a new low. We have broken and made a new high. So I guess technically on the 4 hour, it's in an uptrend. It did take out that swing high and has fallen away. So it's grabbed the liquidity there. I don't know. EG is choppy. That's what EG is. 1 hour time frame. Anything clear here? Bit of an uptrend. We've grabbed all the buy side liquidity and now we're starting to get this displacement back through after you've grabbed this liquidity here. Anytime you see a run on liquidity and then you see displacement away, it could be a reversal. Stop run. So, potentially on the 1 hour, you have a nice little breaker here. Down close candle, stabs into liquidity, aggressive move away. There's no like clean fair value gap there on the nothing here either. Nothing on the 10-minute I see. If you were expecting short off of that liquidity grab, there's no really clean entry for me there, but that's a very clean grab of liquidity, displacement away. So you still have some sell side liquidity up underneath this trend line. It's dipped into it a little bit here. Retail's going to, any retail trend line traders, they've been liquidated at this point. But there's still stops underneath lows all the way down here. So I don't know. I never have a good clean handle on EG. So it's not the best analysis there for you. I moved my stop loss to 1.5R. Anybody that's wondering exactly how we trade and what the system is that we trade, there is a YouTube video. Let me see if I can, over on my YouTube channel, that tells you the exact trading plan that we use. This video here. Let me see if I can put this in the chat. Oh, I actually need to do it on the actual live stream. There you go. Anybody that wants to know exactly the rules that we use in our trading plan, you can do it right there. You can check out that video in that link. Yeah, Bespoke is great to work with. I'm sure you could message them if you don't want to take a micro lot trade, but I mean, it's a very simple workaround. Just take one micro lot trade. Top dollar, when you guys change from day trading to swing trading, wait for the daily to confirm. Then take a 4 hour on entry, 1 to 3 trades per month. That's when you will appreciate trading. Big up, Venator. Yeah, I'm not a swing trader. I have tried swing trading. I just don't like I'm just not wired for that. I don't want to be in holding positions. There's too much volatility in the world, current affairs, that make me not want to be holding trades for sure over the weekends and most of the time overnight. So I don't. But yes, you're right, and it really is. Uh, you're trading the same patterns. You're waiting for the same confirmations on those higher time frames that we're looking for on the lower time frames. But you're just using those daily and 4 hour charts. Red says, would you say that you now have an unforkable psychology? Do you still learn trading psychology at present? Um, I don't know how like impenetrable it is, but I mean, I think I'm in a pretty good place with it. I definitely, I'm not going to lie and tell you, oh, these last 3 weeks, I felt great being in drawdown for 3 weeks. That hasn't felt good. Uh, and I wish some of that, though, I think is because I'm live streaming and the pressure that I've never felt before that I feel now is that on the live stream, because I'm live streaming, uh, you know, the whole world's watching. And so there's an added pressure of at least how I feel it, of wanting to be right more often to prove that I can trade, basically. But that doesn't really. I mean, I guess the positive side of it is that I know how to handle my emotions now. Like I don't. I'm not driven by emotion. I'm not necessarily controlled by my emotion. And while I feel those things, I don't allow them to dictate my responses, and I don't allow them to dictate my next action. So while I want to be out of drawdown, and I would prefer to be out of drawdown sooner rather than later. The knowing that you all are here watching the stream and watching a profitable trader pass challenges and get out of drawdown, it makes me much more conscientious about the decision making process. So it's accountability, basically, is what I'm saying. Like, knowing you all are here watching is accountability for me to continue just to trade my system the way I would. If I was off the stream and you all weren't here and I was just sitting here trading and I've been in drawdown for 3 weeks, I don't know. I still feel all the same things you guys feel. Every time I sit down and I see a huge candle start to print, there's a part of me that's like, dadgummit, I just missed all that run. I could have made money on that. So everyone still feels those things. Like you can't necessarily control thoughts that come into your head. It's your subconscious brain. Like you just have thoughts. Like you can't stop thoughts from forming inside your head. The only choice you have is what are you going to do when those thoughts come into your head? Are you going to let them? And there are times when you need to listen to them and you're thinking the right thing, but you need to. The true mark of a professional trader is understanding when it's it's an irrational emotional decision that you're thinking about, or if it's actually just a wise, it fits your trading strategy kind of thought. So I know that's just kind of rambled there. I don't know if I answered your question, but I still deal with the same emotions you guys deal with every day. I don't want to lose. It sucks to lose. Every time I lose, uh, it's a punch in the gut. It's like crap. Like took a loss, but it's pretty short lived nowadays. Like I feel that, I recognize it, and then I just go, well, that was one trade, and I'm not concerned about the outcome of any one trade. I truly have shifted my mindset to the next 100 trades that I'm taking. That's where my focus is my edge will play out over the next 100 trades I take. And so, whatever the outcome is for this one trade, if I executed it according to my plan and I followed my rules and it takes a loss, it's so much easier to deal with because I know that in the end, statistics and probabilities tell me everything's going to be great and I don't need to worry about this one trade or these two trades in a row that we lost. Whoo, God, 10 days in one trade. That's impressive. I could not do that. I am not wired to do that. Do you feel pound dollar being less volatile than euro? GBP, I don't know. They move. Sometimes EU is more volatile. Sometimes GU is more volatile. It just depends. It just depends. So we're here into the 8 o'clock hour. I'm going to take that trade off because it doesn't fit my trading plan. I know we talked about the analysis of it earlier, but with the red folder news coming out, I just want to see what the dollar wants to do here once it gets that red folder news. GJ, still no displacement down through here. US 30, I said these lows would probably get tapped into. It's trying to tap into them, but it's pulled back off of them a little bit. Nothing here on S&P, nothing here on NAS. Oh, let's go back and see what anything fun happening over it. We need to name it. John, do you have a name for the club? What's the name for this club? Can't be Golden Nugget. Golden Nugget is that's a casino. We need a name. Cisco says no pressure from us, dude. I'm excited to follow the journey, but can never guarantee results in trading. Well, yeah, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I feel pressure from you all. It's more pressure that I feel from myself, knowing that people are watching. Like if you were live streaming and every trading decision that you were making to pass and get funded and grow your and stack accounts, you would feel that accountability. You would feel that pressure as well. And again, I'm not saying that you are putting that pressure on me, so don't hear that. I'm grateful you all are here. If anything, it helps hold me accountable to sticking to my plan and showing you that when you stick to a plan, the success that can come long term from that plan. So, Venator, you're doing good, man. I think people saw more than enough flashy, quick profits in the trading universe. What people really need is real trader with long-term consistency. Keep it up. That's why I'm doing this. Everyone thinks that you can pass these challenges fast, get funded fast, and then get a 5 or 6 figure payout. And that is possible, but that is not how it happens. That's why 90% of you are still failing challenges and not getting payouts. Chasing that fast money. The Gilded Gals. I like it. Gilded Gals. I'm down for that. Gilded Gals is that's what we're calling gold. It's a good name. Thank you, John. Here on the GBP trade, really would have preferred this not to have paused right there. You see on the 10-minute, it grabbed this liquidity and then it shot back down, but then it immediately just paused. We can still get some displacement down, but we'll see. We got about what is that? About 20 minutes till our news comes up, and then we'll see if anything pops on GU or EU. 100% remind ourselves that we shouldn't let our emotions drive our decisions. Yep. Adidia, how in Twitter every day someone wins? I have seen some trader, they try to predict, they never lose. Dude, anything on social media, this is the bad part about social media, is that your brain only sees instant success. And people can post whatever it is that they want to post. And typically they're only sharing something amazing. And they're trying because they want people to like them and they want people to think that they're good and that they deserve to be here, and they want to impress you. That's what social media is about, at least in general. Very broad strokes, most of the people on social media are just looking for your approval. And so to get your approval, they need to impress you. And to impress you, they need to show you that they made a payout or they got past a challenge or whatever it is. Don't be impressed by what's happening on social media, because it doesn't last. All those people, they just work at the Gilded Gal. Isn't that right, John? It's not real. It's not real. They're just waiting for their next dance at the Gilded Gal. That's all they're doing. So it's hard, I know, because you follow all these people on social media and it's so easy to just think that this is a simple business to do. And it kind of is, and it kind of isn't. Like the concepts of what we're doing and the concept of trading, people understand it. You buy, you sell, you make profit on the difference. But actually doing it day in and day out, week in and week out, month in and month out, it's so much more difficult than buy and sell, as you guys know, which is why you're here watching. And I appreciate you guys being here. I really do. 41 viewers. Thank you guys so much for being here today. Just hit that like button for me at some point. We're getting a nice little setup potentially forming over here on GJ. we're going to need to wait and see what these next couple candles bring us here. We could be looking at something here. What's a 5 minute? We got anything cleaner on the 5 minute? You've got that on the 5 minute, but you got that at volume imbalance. I'd probably just leave it there. Here we go. 15 minute, a little bit cleaner. I am a chart fidgeter, so I apologize, y'all. I fidget with my charts non-stop. I know that probably drives you crazy watching it, but I am constantly moving it around. It's my ADD kicking in. But not a bad looking setup here. We'll see how this 10-minute candle closes right here. Got about 6 more minutes on it, but if it does, I kind of like this setup on GJ here. And we'll just talk through it over these next 6 minutes and see. But you can see we've had a clear run on this trend line here, which is liquidity. All of these highs, all of the liquidity up here is getting run. And then once it grabs this retail, all this liquidity here, pops up aggressively, grabs it, and now we're getting displacement back down through. After liquidity has been run, we're getting displacement through. If this candle here closes below, I would anticipate that this breaker coming in here, and we could get to our 1 to 2 profit even before that low gets taken out. Make a new low for the day potentially. So we'll see. Might put that above that candle that created the fair value gap there. The body. I think that's fine. It's above the breaker. It's above the fair value gap. So we got about 4 more minutes there. I am going to pull it up on my MT5. Whoops, wrong one. Give me a second while I lean over here. I'll move my mic so you can. All right, again, I need to see this 10-minute candle close down below that breaker. I need the body of that candle to close below that breaker. If it doesn't, then this is not a setup yet for me. So I need this current candle I need the body of that candle to close below that breaker box right there. If it does, I'll have a valid setup. If it doesn't, then we'll be waiting. But I have everything set up and ready to go. I do have an entry set for 181, 102 if this does indeed work out in the next 2 minutes. So there's my entry with a stop at 181, 277, and then a TP of, where's the TP? 187.30. Right there. So if this does indeed close below that breaker, we'll take this trade. If it doesn't close below that breaker, then we'll just stay on the sidelines. The news comes out in 15 minutes. It's going to need to make a little bit of a drop here in the next half a minute or so, or this is not a valid setup for me. And it does not look like it's going to cooperate with us, ladies and gentlemen. That's how it works sometimes. You got to be ready. And then it just says, nah, we're not going to play that game. The next candle could close down. That's fine. So that's no trade. I'm going to take that off. I'm going to leave it up, actually, but I'm not going to. There's no position here, guys. Just hang on. If this next candle, we get the displacement that we were looking for, if it comes down here, then we might still have a setup. Otherwise, we'll just wait for the news. We got 10 more minutes until the news comes out. S-Boy says, they don't speak for all of us. I'm putting pressure on you to not put pressure on yourself. Stick to your plan. John, or if you're PW, farm that FOMO. You can do what I do. You buy my course. There's a lot of people that are selling courses that don't trade live. They will they'll show you one payout that could be photoshopped and then convince you to give them $100 a month. But they're not on the charts every single day. They're not on the charts streaming their trades. They know that their subscriptions would probably drop significantly if they had to trade live every day for everybody. Social media is only ever a highlight reel. Even from people being honest, it's only a glimpse of their lives. Yep. Kill zone is 7 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. New York time. I will go up to 10:30, and sometimes I'll even go beyond. If there's news that drops at 10 o'clock often on those days don't happen very much, but sometimes you can get a news drop at 10 that will give you some volatility for the next couple hours, and you can get in around 10:30, 11 at the latest. But I'm typically not taking any trades after 10:30. Have you tried making a trading robot? No, I have not. Screen is a bit blurry on my phone. Are you on the 10-minute time frame? I am on GJ. I'm on the 10-minute time frame. But currently there's no setup. We had a potential setup forming, and we did not get continued displacement below that low, that breaker. So we're just waiting. There's no trade setup. Hey Stone, it's going well, man. Hope you're doing well. Euro dollar, pound dollar, just waiting for that news to come out. Dollar waiting for that news to come out. All the indexes just in a holding pattern here. Nothing to see yet, boys and girls. Found you on the Bespoke interview. Looking forward to this. Awesome. I'm glad you're here. Welcome in, Beeson. Welcome in. And we have a lot of new viewers in the last week or so because of that interview. So I'm grateful for you guys being here, and I hope it's helpful. I really do. We're here every day, every Monday through Friday. We're here. I'm usually on at 7 a.m. New York time, and I'll stream for at least a couple hours every day. Some days I might go 3 hours, but not every day. Usually we're here till at least 9:30 New York time. And we'll be here at least that long today. Dude trades live but won't tell you his setup. Patrick is literally the opposite of you. Yeah, he does. He's pretty discretionary on his trading. It's just like, so if you're a discretionary trader, it just means you don't really have a trading plan. You kind of just look at the chart and you kind of intuitively know what's happening, and you just can get in and out. Now he might have a trading plan that he's aware of and what he's looking for. He just doesn't share it, and he just sits there and trades live. There's another guy, trades by Matt or something. He's a futures trader. Trades by Matt, or Matt Trades or something like that. And he also is, he kind of has a system, but he also is just very discretionary on his trading plan, where he just kind of like, oh, it hit the VWAP, and this time when it hits the VWAP, he gets in. But the next time it hits the VWAP, it doesn't get in. And oh, it's a wick test here, I might try that. Or it just ran that low, so maybe it's gonna. They're all just, none of them like actually walk you through exactly what it is they're trying to do. So there's very few that will just trade live every day. Man, there are a lot of cheaters in the Forex market. You can manipulate so much on MT4. And if you have any kind of like sponsored deal with brokers, you can easily make your account say whatever you want it to say. And they do that to get more people to use that broker, or to sell a course or whatever. Do you trade directly on TradingView, or you copy values in MetaTrader? So I have TradingView here in front of me on the stream on this laptop setup that I have. So I have two screens here. I've got my like streaming software on one screen, and I've got TradingView up in front of me. And then I've got my phone over here that's got the chat stuff going on. And then I've got my laptop here with my MT5 terminal. So if I ever get a setup here, I just turn right here to MT5 and put all the information in. I don't want to keep them. I want to keep them separate, mostly just so that the computer isn't kind of, doesn't get bogged. This computer is just streaming. This computer is like actual trading, and I want my trading on its own system. I don't want it to be. I don't want it fighting for computer resources with the charting software. Got about 3 more minutes till the news hits here, and then maybe we'll get it set up. Uh, he pushes people to buy his subscription, making fun of those that don't by calling them brokies. And then encourages his followers to call them that as well. Yeah. What's his subscription? Like, is it like a private Discord community? Is it a... I don't know what he's... I don't know. I don't know that. I just know he trades live. I didn't know he had like a private... I mean, I don't know why I wouldn't assume that. But James, hi, thanks for the live stream. Could you run through why you chose that particular breaker block and not any of the lower ones? Thanks. Oh, paid subscription on YouTube. Yeah. I see. What does it cost? What's his paid subscription on YouTube? The reason, James, hey, welcome in. The reason I chose that breaker on the 10-minute time frame is this is the last down close candle before we started running all of the buy side liquidity. So we ran buy side liquidity. Before we ran all this buy side liquidity, this was the last down close candle that formed before we popped up. So down, aggressive move up, and then we got displacement. We just haven't gotten continued displacement down through there. So there was no setup there for that. Once this candle didn't close below, there was no setup. It can still displace, and we might still get a bit, but it's basically closed in that fair value gap now on this candle. And there's really nothing left inside that fair value gap. So likely not a great setup here, and we would need to see something lower for him. So now that it retraced all the way back up inside there, we're going to take that off. Again, it basically, the fair value gap, there's still a little fair value gap left, but it closed in the fair value gap completely that was inside of this 10-minute breaker block. So there is no more setup there. This thing could just tank down, and this fair value gap could hold. There's the news. Let's jump over and see what kind of pop we're getting here. They were expecting 0.5 retail sales. Very bearish for the dollar aggressively currently. Look at that GJ trade. That would have been a very fast 1 to 2. Why couldn't have this candle just closed below? I mean, 1 pip below, and we would have been up 4% right now. This is the kind of stuff that you guys watch, and then you're like, damn it, get in now. Push the sell. It's going to keep dropping. That candle right here screwed that whole setup. And that's unfortunate. So very unfortunate. Pound ripping higher on the dollar. Euro ripping higher on the dollar. Dollar trying to run out the current day low. US 30 has left those lows in place still. So I still think that you have a very clear draw on liquidity there. Gold may be trying to close up above this 30-minute fair value gap finally. That is just kind of, this is the kind of stuff that back when I was failing, it would have wrecked the rest of my day. Like the whole rest of my day would have just been completely ruined because of this move right there. I would have just been pissed off and, you know, all kinds of jacked up emotionally about that trade. But this is how you trade a trading plan. I have a rule that tells me there's no trade here if there's no displacement below the breaker. We did not get displacement below the breaker. This candle didn't give us a close below the breaker. This candle started to, but then pulled back up and closed inside the breaker. So there is no trade set up for me, even though this trade worked out and would have hit our 1 to 2 winner. That that's where this reminder. This is where we had everything right there. Uh, that's that would have really jacked me up. That would have really jacked me up, but it doesn't anymore. Now I just laugh and appreciate the humor that the market has. It has an incredibly dark sense of humor, the market. But, all in all, it doesn't even know I exist. These are demo accounts. These trades are not on live accounts. It doesn't even know what I'm trying to do. It's not sitting here thinking, "Oh, Venator Trader, he's live and there's 45 people watching him trade right now, and you know what? Let's just jack his morning up." Like, that's not how the market operates. It has no idea that I exist or that I'm alive. So that would have been, like I said, though, that would have just completely wrecked me in the days of old. And I would have done something stupid right now. I would see it pulling back right now, and I would be like, "Oh, get in now. Look, it pulled back. It's going to retrace. Yes, get another entry. You can do it now." And then I would have taken a loss instead of, because I missed a win. So, oops. So don't do that. Don't try to get back in. Nice to see that setup work out. The breaker did end up working out. It is a breaker. It just did not give us what we needed to see there, unfortunately. Pound starting to popped up and now it's dropping down. Euro popped up, now it's dropping down. Let's see here. On the 15-minute time frame, we're going to need to see some displacement lower here. So we need this candle. It's already, we've gotten displacement. So what we don't want to see it can run these lows right here. That's fine. These are the lows that I'm most interested in down here. I don't want to see it run those first. So my preference is, what were the numbers, by the way? Oh, we still don't know. Still hasn't come out. Let me pull up a different time frame. Oh, nothing yet. Maybe it's on Forex Factory. Oh, wow. So they were anticipating 0.4 and 0.5%, and they came in at 0.2%. So retail sales missed their expectation, and they were lower. Correct, James. That's right. Did not sweep any liquidity. John Jones, no clue. I don't buy at the farmers FOMO market. I see a lot of people there every morning, though. I'm going to the Gilded Gals. Let's go look. Gilded Gals still just dancing around on top of the tabletops, entertaining the customers, doing nothing spectacular at the moment. US 30 still got all those equal lows down below here. I mean, I'm kind of liking and digging this setup here on pound dollar. So the bad thing about this GBP trade is if we get a closure, like if we get this 15-minute candle, it still has 8 minutes to go. If it does close below and the next one also is closed below and we have a confirmed setup, let's say you were going to try to identify a short somewhere in there, I would have to put my trade way up here, my stop. You could use this, but I just don't know how you... I mean, you could potentially do something like this. Maybe. But we're going to need this 15-minute candle to close, and we're going to need the next 15-minute candle to close before we have any type of setup there. Yeah, that's why you don't trade news. You're exactly right. That's why you don't trade news. That's a wick in, wick out on both sides. For everybody watching, if you're just joining the stream, thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you watching every day. This is the first full week for a lot of you. And, I hope you're enjoying how we process through how to take trades. We're not going to take a lot of trades. I take 1 to 2 a week. And if you're here and you're just hoping that I call out a trade every single day, you're going to be very disappointed. We're not here. I'm not here to take multiple trades a day. I'm here to take the best trade setups that I can find for the system that I'm using for this challenge. We use the breaker block with a nested fair value gap inside of a breaker block. That's the strategy that we use. We watch 3 or 4 pairs, and typically we're going to get 1 to 2 trades a week on that. The last 3 weeks have been very slow. We've only had 3 trades total in 3 weeks, so 1 trade a week. We're just in a little bit of drawdown, but with this system, 1 trade will pull us up out of drawdown. 1 winner will pull us back up out. So just waiting for that 1 trade setup to show up, and then we'll try to capitalize on it as best we can. But stick around. I think that you'll find some value here. I think I know what you will see. You're going to see a profitable trader who knows how to pass challenges and stack accounts. You're going to get to see me operate at a professional level as far as executing a specific strategy. The patience that goes into that, the discipline that goes into that, the analysis that goes into that, and then hopefully you guys will can learn a little bit and participate and grow in your own trading journeys. That's really why I'm doing this, is just to help out as many people that I can that are still failing challenges. So if you're still failing challenges, then this is a good place to be. There's your continued displacement down here. Man. So here's what's been happening to us these last few weeks. We're able to identify exactly what we're looking for. So we have a very clear run on liquidity, right? Like it's run buy side liquidity here. We get a quick stab up. We've identified our breaker. This is the breaker I'd like to use. If you go back and watch early on in the stream, I did say that these 2 down close candles also can function as a breaker. So I would like to see this one, but these 2 down close candles also could be our breaker. And if you look on a 30-minute time frame, it actually makes more sense to use that candle right there. But yeah, we would get our setup, we see our run on liquidity, and then we get displacement. But when the displacement happens, we have been offered no pullbacks. It just displaces aggressively after this run on stops and gives you no opportunity on a breaker entry. And so we haven't had the market give any kind of a pullback into a breaker fair value gap. It just displaces and it just keeps displacing. So it's been a little frustrating seeing that play out, seeing your setup develop, knowing where your breaker is, seeing the fair value gap, and then you just see price run the liquidity that you would be targeting. And once it runs the liquidity that you're targeting, there's no trade setup anymore. So Again, I'm not too concerned about it tapping into this. These are the lower ones that if it runs that without a pullback, those are the ones that I would no longer be interested in taking. DXY and EU divergence. Yeah, DXY did not take out last week's low, and Euro did take out last week's high. So there's definitely some SMT there, which is often a reversal signal on the higher time frames. So here on Euro, if I was going to try to identify a breaker, it's just a lot more choppy here. Here's your run on liquidity. There was nothing clean inside that breaker. You could pull back all the way down to this and say the run on liquidity. So all of this liquidity right here, it started on this big down close candle. So potentially here on EU, that could be your breaker. And again, I'm choosing that breaker because before we ran liquidity, like all of this liquidity that's sitting up here, before we stabbed up in this swing started down here. There's a little bit of chop right here, but these candles are so tiny. This big down close candle, and then we popped up. So I would be most interested in using that breaker right there, which lines up with this as well. You could move over and say, hey, that down close candle, but if you're gonna do that, you really need to use both of those. So so it lines up with either one, so it's fine. But that's what I would be looking at on Euro here. I think GU is a lot cleaner to be able to identify that. So did anybody take that GJ trade on that news drop? Did anybody take that GJ trade? It didn't fit my plan, but it could have fit yours. I'm wondering if anybody captured any of that. Let's see. Daniel says, thinking to do one 200K with 1% risk and one 100K with 2% risk. Thoughts on a challenge? I don't change my risk. I just risk what I do. I don't change it based on any specific challenge that I'm taking. It's not wrong to diversify and have a different risk profile for multiple accounts. So when I have like $1 million in funding or $2 million in funding, every account that I'm trading, I will have some that have a lower risk profile just to get some diversification and have a longer term account protection. But on challenges, I don't know on challenges that I would change anything. I would just trade what I'm going to trade. But you're free to do. It's not necessarily a bad decision to want to do that. James says, I heard you say your win rate with this strat is around 60%. Sorry if I'm wrong on that, but even with a 60% win rate, statistically, a run of 4 losses is very possible. Yeah, I've had max losing streaks of 4 in my last 100 trades. So it's very possible that I lose 4 in a row. But that's why I keep my risk at 2% so that if I hit my max losing streak, I will have still not violated the drawdown rule. I'll only be at 8%, and this is a 10% drawdown. At that point, if I lose 4 in a row, I will reduce my risk by half down to 1%, and then I would have to have a new all-time max losing streak. Um, and I would have to lose 6 in a row to actually lose the account at that point, which I have not done. I've only ever maxed on this specific strategy. I've only lost 4 in a row. GU might be giving us a little setup. We'll see. There it is. There's that tap into the liquidity there on US 30. Now we'll wait and see if we get displacement to the top side here or not, or if this is just gonna keep dropping. S&P also dropping. Nas grabbing liquidity. So everything's grabbed. All the indexes have grabbed their liquidity, and so now it becomes a waiting game to see what the markets want to do there. Man, this I can't believe the influence that this 30-minute fair value gap has had. Quite impressive. So if GU can hold back down below that breaker there, it's giving us some nice displacement, and it's currently our fair value gap is right there. It could still pop up a little bit higher here. I don't want to see it close back inside that breaker. But still leaving a lot of relative equal lows down here. So could be something. I am going to go take a little bit of a bathroom break while we're waiting on this. We got about 10 more minutes on this candle, so I need to go get some water and take a little bathroom break. I will be right back. Give me about 2 minutes, guys, and we'll see if we're going to get any kind of setup today. So hang tight. All right. 7 more minutes here. And it looks like we're just getting back into the breaker the breaker block, which is what I don't want to watch it. I don't want to see happen, but it's doing it. Man, chat is popping off over here. Catch up here a little bit. Daniel's talking about his potential challenges he's taken. Daniel, I would definitely, it says, I saw in there you said you're a teenager. Listen to the wisdom of the chat. Prove to yourself you can pass a challenge. Buy 10K. Even if you have the money, I have the money to go buy 400K challenges right now and reach $2 million in max funding. But why do that when I can just start with $100, buy a 10K, and stack it with their money? The wealthy use other people's money to get rich, not their own. So if you're not passing challenges and you haven't ever been funded, buy a 10K. Prove that you can be disciplined enough with your strategy to execute it and pass that challenge. Then buy a larger challenge. But don't, if you're going into this thinking, oh, I have a job and I can just keep buying challenges, you're just going to be throwing good money after bad, brother. You need the data. You need the data that shows you know how to execute your trading plan in a live market for at least 100 trades before you start risking more than 1% on any account ever. If you don't have that data, you should never be risking more than 1%. So that's my advice. If I were you and I was a teenager, if I had a son who was a teenager and he'd want to do this, I'd be like, even if you have the money to buy that 100K account or a 200K account, just buy a 10K account and prove. There's no rush. There is absolutely no rush. Prove to yourself that you can do this. Prove to yourself that in a live market, on a live challenge, that you can manage your emotions and you can master your discipline. And if you pass it in a month, you haven't lost anything. You've got $10,000 to add to your assets under management. And what you've gained is the confidence to know that that you can execute your trading plan in live market conditions every single day you sit down to trade. So, all right, here's what we're looking at. This is a nice little setup here on GU. If we can get a closure here below that breaker block. Let's see if I can go set this up over. I'm going to just anticipate that it's going to close and get a order set up here. So what I would be doing, come on, drop my lines. There we go. I would want to get in here and I would put my stop. Oof. Man, this is... I think I want to put... I'll start about 50% of that wick. All right, so if we get a closure here in the next minute and a half and it stays below, I'm going to take this setup on GU here. But I need it to close below that breaker. And if it does, then I'll let you know what the entries are here. Oh my gosh, are you freaking kidding me right now? Nine o'clock hour. That's unbelievable. That's unfreaking believable. So there's no trade setup. No trade setup. This is what I was anticipating. This is where this is where my entry would have been and my stop loss TP. But this candle, I told you, this candle needs to close below that breaker. And it did not. It was down here, and then with like 5 seconds left, it popped up and closed inside that breaker. So there's no trade setup on GU. EU, we did not get displacement below that as well. Golly, man. Are you kidding me right now? Market is just playing with me today. Well, crap. Here's the thing. That trade may still work out just like GJ. GJ did the same thing to us. Didn't close outside of our breaker, and then it hit our take. It would have triggered in and hit take profit. This may as well also trigger in and hit take profit. But I follow my trading plan, and my trading plan, I need to see displacement below, and after it closes below, I need that this next candle, it needs to respect and not close. It needs to close outside that breaker for me. And then that's a beautiful fair value gap. And it just, that sucks, man. Because I really like that setup right there. And there's obvious clean equal lows below here. There's liquidity still to grab. Relative equal lows here, here, and here. It's inside our TP. And, gah. That's frustrating. Very, very frustrating. But again, this is the emotional side of stuff. The old me would have been pissed off and just randomly entered a trade right here and tried to, just force my will on the market for not giving me the setup that I wanted to see. Listen, if you don't get your setup, there's no trade to take. If you don't get every single one of your criteria checked off, there's no trade. Professional traders don't break their rules. They know their trading plan, they know their trading system. It is their Bible, it is their holy Bible that they use when they sit down at the charts. It is their sacred document that shall not be broken. So if you don't get every box checked off, there's no trade. As much as I want to get out of drawdown, I don't want to break my rules to do it. So I'm not going to. That's just a choice I've made. Every day I wake up and I recommit to myself that I'm going to follow my rules today. Every day. Every single day. There's no other alternative. I'm not going to be able to scroll all the way back up there, chat, and see what you guys were talking about. So I'm just going to catch up right where I'm at. See if there's anything I need to talk to. I love that you guys are in there talking, man. You guys can fill that chat up as much as you want. I love that you're talking with each other. I'll try to find the questions as they come, but if you ask a question and the chat scrolls it by because of too many messages, just drop it back in there. I'll try to get to it. Pedro, does dollar CAD have a valid breaker? I don't know. We can look. I trade dollar CAD on my other strategy. 15-minute time frame. Yeah, I mean, you've got a very clear run on liquidity. So let's just talk through here. Your bullish dollar, currently short-term bullish dollar. CAD has a lot of red folder news. I think it just dropped. So this morning, you would need to use, let's see if there's something better. So this run on liquidity here started on these up close candles. So you have a rather large breaker block here. That would be your breaker on dollar CAD. You do have a nice little fair value gap inside there. I would want to enter at the low end of that fair value gap, which is closer to the 50% area of the breaker. So right at the top of that wick is where I would want to get in. And I would need to put my stop below the candle that forms the breaker, or at least the bodies of the candle that form the breaker, probably right there. And then target 1 to 2, which would run all of this buy side liquidity here. It's a little bit higher, so it could just run this in reverse. So that is a potential setup on dollar CAD. Nice little breaker. I don't trade it on this system, but I trade it on higher time frames with my other system. So, but yeah, not a bad looking trade setup there. Again, I'm not calling that as a trade for this challenge or what I'm doing, but it is a good catch. Run liquidity, dip in, grab the stops, all the stops that are under here, all the orders that rest under these relative equal lows. Aggressive move down, quick displacement away, creates a shift in market structure. You identify your breaker, your fair value gap is inside of it. You set your limit order, and you're either going to get your price or you're not. And in this case, if it runs this buy side liquidity before you get an entry, you wouldn't have a trade. You would cancel your order there. You would need it. You would want to see it pull back here and rebalance that before it ran that liquidity. At least I would. That's what I would look for. Man, I cannot believe that GBP on both pairs today faking us out, man. On 6B, there's no fair value gap inside that break, or the wicks match each other. Is 6B GBP USD? John, is that every broker? Yeah, that's just a difference between brokerages, and it could be a difference between futures versus actual forex pairs. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, again, that's just a difference of the broker feeds. So some may have that fair value gap, some may not, and it just depends on how they print that stuff. See you, Cisco. Probably already out of here, but thanks for watching. Red Ezekiel. No, that's not a setup I'm going to take. It's going to keep going up. Sunrise says, I'm learning a lot during the streaming. Thank you. You bet. I'm glad you're learning a lot. Stick around. You'll learn a lot more. And you can just practice patience and discipline with the rest of us in here. Learning moment here, because I would have 100% convinced myself into justifying it. Yeah, I would have too. My old self would have been like, "Oh, it's fine, just take the trade." If you don't have every box checked, don't take the trade. It might work out, but it also might not. And I promise you, the times that it doesn't work out and you managed and you followed your rules, you're going to be like, that's why I follow my rules. And the times that it works out, that you didn't take the trade, but it still runs to your TP, it just reinforces. I never get mad when I miss a trade. I get frustrated when things like this happen because they're good setups. And I know in the long term that this strategy is profitable. And so when I see a setup forming, the best setups are very clear and they meet the criteria and they work out more often than not. And so these setups, if I had gotten into this trade and it lost, I would have immediately said, this candle did not continue the displacement down. So if GBP turns around and just rolls back over here, and this is just continued chop today, then it's because this candle didn't continue the displacement. We've grabbed liquidity, but it's just engineered more liquidity here. So it's engineered all this liquidity under here that it's probably going to want to tap into before it wants to run higher. So maybe tomorrow's the low of the week, if it's not going to be today. But it definitely did. It grabbed liquidity, displaced, but then it just stopped. So there was no continued displacement there. It did not confirm that it wants to grab that sell side just yet. Same with EU. Just super choppy market conditions right now, guys. Like, does this look like high probability trading conditions to you? No. No. The market is accumulating. Remember the power of three ICT traders, it's accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. So this is just accumulation. On the higher time frames, we're just accumulating. We've had this big move down, and so after these big moves down, you have this pause in the market, and it kind of recovers a little bit. It just takes a breath. And so we're just, that's what it's doing right now. Very choppy. Not that we can't find trade setups inside of here, but they're going to be not, it's going to be stuff like this. Trading inside that range after it's grabbed liquidity from one side or the other. But this GBP trade is the one that I'm probably more upset about than the GU trade. It was so clean. And that little stinking candle right there just screwed the whole thing up. Ugh, frustrating, man. That huge wick is another reason not to enter. But as an imperfect person will still break our sacred like the Bible, yes. So was there a time you have altered your trading rule? I don't alter my trading rules now at all. While I was refining my system and strategy and trying to figure out just what my specific rules would be, I would have. There was a time I would have taken that trade, and I would have said, "There's your displacement, and there's your fair value gap," and it didn't matter what that second candle after displacement did. But after enough back testing and data, I realized, and live trading in the market, that eliminating trades where the candle after displacement does not confirm displacement eliminated a few more losses and increased my win rate. I wouldn't say significantly, but by several percentage points. And that's I want to have the highest win rate that I can. It means I'm going to take fewer and fewer trades, but it's going to keep me out of my win. I'll have more wins than I do losses over 100 trades in the end. So I don't mess with my trading rules anymore. Why is it you're not using at least 2 systems for this challenge? The main reason is that most traders who continue to fail challenges right now, it's because they have multiple systems that they're using. And all you need to be profitable is one trading system. Will you reach profitability slower? Potentially. But why is that bad? Everyone wants to get there so fast, and they think if they have multiple strategies to use, they can get there faster. I understand the logic behind that, but the problem is most new traders and those who are consistently failing challenges are trying to, you're trying to look, you have enough trouble trying to identify and holding to the rules of one specific strategy as it is. And so just keeping your focus for a couple of hours on the charts during your trading session to see your one specific setup form, it's a lot of mental capital that you're using to do that. You add in a second strategy or a third strategy, and they each have their own set of criteria and rules. And now it's just a recipe of confusion. And, oh, which strategy am I looking for? Which strategy do I need to use for this? Which strategy? All you need is one strategy. And so one of my goals for this specific stream and this challenge is to show you, just use one strategy, master one setup and one strategy, and you can get there. And if 6 months from now you're managing $2 million in capital, it doesn't matter that you went 3 weeks with only 3 trades. Good morning, love. Hey, pups. So that's why I'm only doing one strategy on this stream. I have said a few times that maybe when we get to $1 million in funding, maybe when we get halfway to our goal, I would introduce a second strategy. But we'll see. Puppies will be puppies. I'm going to mute my mic while they're having their little freak out moment. All right, I think they're done. They had to chase away the murderer outside that was going to kill us all, because that's what one of my golden doodles thinks anyone that's not part of our family is going to do: murder all of us. Crazy. It's funny, you can see him back over here when they walk by. Maggie, why you gotta be so crazy, man? All right. It accumulates because it's accepting the level before it can break out again. Correct. Morning, Jack. Welcome in, buddy. Good to see you in. It's just, again, guys, your trade setups need to clearly check every box for your strategy. This fair value gap inside this breaker may play out just perfectly right now, and it may run to take profit. And I might not, and I'm not going to get an opportunity to participate in that move, and that's fine. It didn't meet my trade criteria. And while there's a frustrating aspect to it, I'm also like, I don't care about today. I don't care about yesterday. The only thing I care about is what's happening right in front of me. And I know that by the end of this year, I'm going to have a significant amount of funds to be managing for this challenge. So, and these 3 weeks are just what they are. And that happens. You're going to have weeks that go by where you're just not going to have that many setups for them. And there's no loss. There's no skin off your back, man. Like, it is what it is. Sometimes you're going to get 5 setups in 1 week, and then you might not get 5 setups in a month. So it's the way the market moves. Learn to enjoy the way the market prints, man. Like, I've said this many times before. I love coming and just watching candles print. It's fascinating to me. Absolutely fascinating me to see how the market moves and watch these candles deliver and watch price deliver. Ken says, have a great rest of the stream. I'm glad I was able to catch this much. Happy trading, everyone. See you, Kenneth. Thanks for stopping in, man. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Surya Dev says, do you have a go-to system to bring you back from drawdown? Nope. My go-to system is the system I trade. It does its job whether I'm in profits. It does its job whether I'm in drawdown. My go-to system is the one that I know I have a more than 50% win rate on, and a 1-to-2 risk-reward ratio. That's my go-to system. Nothing changes when you're in drawdown. Your emotions amp up. The pain is amplified. But there's nothing else that changes. You shouldn't change your rules and your strategy and your risk management in drawdown. For risk-reward ratio to work, to win twice as much as you lose, that's what you have to do to get out of drawdown. You have to win twice as much as you lose. And as soon as you decrease your risk when you're in drawdown, you can no longer win twice as much as you just lost. So you're dulling your edge. Your edge, your offensive weapon in this battle is your risk to reward ratio. It's your risk management. So you've got to be winning twice as much as you lose. That's how you get out of drawdown. And every time you lose, you cut your risk in half. It's going to take you that like 2 or 3 times as long. You're going to have to hit several winners in a row, all this other stuff, and then your psychology gets jacked up. Don't change anything when you're in drawdown. You need to win twice as much as you lose. That's how you get out of drawdown. So you're going to get out of drawdown fast. You only have to hit, like I've lost 2 in a row. I need 1 winner and I'm back to break even. If I lose another one and I lose 3 in a row and then I win one, I'm only down 2% of my account. So you guys have got to know the trading strategy that you're using to pass the challenges is the exact same trading strategy you should use to get out of drawdown. There shouldn't be any change. There are lots of different ways people view getting out of drawdown. I know that I am probably on that. Most people, even ICT, will tell you that you should reduce your risk by half with every loss. It will give you and basically it smooths out that drawdown curve. But what it doesn't account for is the amount of time. It extends the amount of time you're going to be in drawdown. And I'm more of a time guy, not necessarily an equity curve guy. So I just think about it like this. I want to win. If I can win twice as much as I lose, then it doesn't matter whether I'm in profit or I'm in drawdown. The risk reward ratio will do its job for me because I have identified a trading edge in the marketplace with my system, with my trading plan, with my strategy. It has a greater than 50% win rate. So that's why I don't change anything. You think 0.5% to 1% is a good risk management for challenge for someone who hasn't passed a challenge yet, even though it would take longer? Yes, I would not go above 1%. Until you know what your max losing streak is over 100 trades in a live market, you should not be risking more than 1%. I would probably say 0.5% to 0.75%. So 0.5 to 0.75, something like that. And then once you've got 100 trades in a live market that you executed your trading plan as accurately as you could, and then you can look back and go, what was my maximum losing streak while I executed this trading plan? 10? Okay, well then I don't want to risk 1%. If I have a 10% drawdown and I hit my max losing streak, then I lose the challenge. So if you have a overall 10 losses in a row, first of all, if you have 10 losses in a row with your trading plan and it's a 1 to 2 risk reward ratio, you probably need to refine your trading plan. This may be hot take, right? Hot take. This is total Venator opinion. I don't think you should be losing 10 trades in a row. There's something wrong with your strategy if you're going to lose 10 trades in a row. Not that it's not out of the realm of possibility. Obviously, all things are possible when it comes to statistics. But in general, if you're losing 10 trades in a row with your trading plan needs to be refined. I think somewhere between 4 and 7 trades in a row is probably more normal and more likely to happen. Somewhere between 4 and 7 trades in a row. And then 1% risk is fine. But if you're losing 10 in a row, you can't risk 1% per trade because you'll blow your account if you hit your max losing streak. And this is all just statistical and probability based. Mohammed says, I'm not trading today anymore. Thank you for sharing so much. I love the way you're preparing us for having an excellent mindset. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Thanks for stopping in, Muhammad. Glad you were here, and we'll see you tomorrow back on the live stream. We'll be here for sure. Alpha Bridge, summer always a slow and sometimes annoying market phase. It is what it is. Yep. Redhead sends you photos. And hi. Hey, Sammer. I'll go check out your photos on Twitter. If you guys want me to look at a chart or analysis or something that you're trading, you can DM me on Twitter. My DMs are open to anyone that wants to send me a message. So if there's a question here on the live stream that you don't want to put up on the chat in front of everybody and you'd rather have a more private conversation, we're still at a size where I can answer most of those DMs on a daily basis. I probably get, I don't know, 10 to 12 people a day in there, but it's enough for me that I can carry on multiple conversations. So if there's something you want to know or something you want to ask and you just don't want to put it in the chat, totally cool. Just DM me over on Twitter and I'll get to that. Suridev says, statistically, any system with 50% win rate might average 10 losing streaks. Yes, statistically, that is possible. You are correct. So yeah, all I can go off of is I use my last 100 trades and they just keep rolling. So when I add a trade to my statistics, the 100th trade drops off and this one comes as the newest. And so I'm always looking at my last 100 trades and trying to determine what the stats are so far. And it consistently remains above 50%. It usually hovers in the 55, in between 55 and 60% win rate is where it lives most of the time. When I hit those losing streaks of 4 in a row, those kinds of moments, it'll drop down to 50% and live down about right there. You only need a 30% win rate to be break even with this strategy. With a 1-to-2 risk reward ratio, you need to win 33% of your trades and you're break even. And I'm very far away from that. So worst case scenario, it's a break even system. It's a break even strategy on a really, really, really bad run of trades. 33% is break even. And then once it turns around and it starts working more aggressively, it gets back up into that 55% win rate. That's when you can make a lot of profits quickly. Like we did so far up until this point, we've made 21% profit in like 8 weeks. So that's a pretty damn good run. And that's the beauty of what this system can do. You can pass challenges pretty quickly. I can pass challenges pretty quickly with this system, and it protects me when I get into drawdown also very well. Mav says, hey brother, hope you're well, still struggling with my emotions, so decided not to trade today. That's the best decision you could make. Not trading is a position. Not taking a trade, choosing not to trade is one of the best positions you can be in as a trader, especially if your emotions are kind of messing with your mindset. If your emotions, if you're self-aware enough to know what's going on internally with you and you decide not to trade, that is a huge step of maturity. That is an ability to have self-awareness, to recognize what's happening, to step outside of those emotions and go, the wisest thing for me to do is this. And in this instance, not trade. And then to not trade, to not trade is to follow through with that decision. That's a huge step of growth for most people. So way to go, bud. Way to go. And again, you can see GU faking us out, man. GJ, that would have been a 4% winner. GU, we definitely would be moving to break even as it clears that low right there. Just frustrating to watch that play out. We missed one checkbox. We missed one checkbox. Check 1, check 2, check 3, check 4, and then check 5 failed to check. So failure to launch. We're still on the launch pad. Dang it, man. Those were great setups today on those GU pairs. Getting some displacement here on US 30 as we get into the 9:30 open. The New York Stock Exchange opened a few minutes ago, so you're going to get some volatility. NAS is showing quite a bit of weakness. S&P not so much, and US 30 not so much. So real interesting that NAS is dropping like a rock, and S&P and US 30 are failing to follow through there. So potential Judas swings maybe, and NAS is just leading the way, or this was the Judas swing on NAS and it needed to grab that extra liquidity. So we'll have to watch and see how that plays out. No setup here for me on dollar CAD. Now that it's run that buy side liquidity, there would be no pullback entry for me on that. Whoever was asking that question, that's off the table. What's gold doing? Let's go check out the Gilded Gals. Doing gold stuff still. Still doing all the gold things. Man, this, golly, I'm impressed by this 30-minute fair value gap right there. It's done quite the work. Euro dollar has taken out its sell side liquidity here. Pound dollar has not taken out its sell side liquidity. Still a lot of very smooth, clean, equal lows. And so we can expect a run on those for sure. And then probably a run on these at least. I'm going to stay on for about another just 10 minutes here, guys. And then I've got to get off. Go get about my day. My wife's up and need to go hang out with her for a little while. Do you also know the 2022 ICT setup? Yes. This is very similar to the ICT 2022 setup where you have a run on liquidity on a higher time frame, a break of structure, fair value gap. Basically the same idea. We incorporated the breaker block, the fair value gap inside of the breaker block when it breaks structure as an entry point to kind of refine that. So, and we also have a very set risk reward ratio of 1 to 2. We're not aiming for a specific swing low. We're not trying to catch 1 to 5 or 1 to 4. We're just trying to get it 1 to 2 off of that fair value gap entry inside that breaker. So it's very similar to the 2022 ICT mentorship. Daniel, yes, I risk 2%. But I have the data. You don't have the data. I have the data that tells me what my win rate is. It tells me what my max losing streak is. So I'm very comfortable risking 2% per trade right now. Sir, you Dev, which of ICT's concepts resonated with you the most? OTE is awesome. Fair value gaps within order blocks. So I use that a lot. Actually, that's one of the other strategies I use is just OTE with order blocks, a variation of that. So they're very simple, very easy to identify, and have a pretty high win rate. Andy says, you're the exact type of trader I aspire to become. Thank you for doing this. Awesome. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you to say. And I'm glad you're finding it helpful. And you can get there. It's really just decisions. It's just one good decision after another. Make one good decision and then make another good decision. And don't let your emotions take control and try to force you out. Corey, good to see you. Thanks for being here, man. We'll catch you tomorrow. And it looks like all of our setups that we wanted to play out have already played out, unfortunately. So I'm probably going to go ahead and call it a stream here. I mean, you're getting massive displacement here on US 30. That is quite an aggressive move, and NAS is the complete opposite. That's fascinating. They're not moving together. But I think that's going to be it for me today, guys. I appreciate you hanging out here for the last 2.5 hours with me. We'll be back again tomorrow, 7 a.m. New York time. You guys enjoy the rest of your day wherever you're at in the world. Stay safe, happy hunting, and we'll see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. New York time. Have a good one, y'all.